Welcome to Writing Westward. My name is West, and today I'm trying something different. As you can see by my face in front of the camera and a lack of edited video clips in front of your face. Also, sorry if the audio's weird. I normally record in the closet for the better quality. Haha, make whatever jokes you want to about that, but it is better quality. I am planning on getting a better mic soon. Anyway, Happy New Year. It's New Year's-ish time for me when I'm recording this right now, and I bring it up because, like many, I spent the holidays with my family. And one of my family members is my 11-year-old nephew. And this kid, I say with love, is a huge nerd, because I'm also a huge nerd. Being a nerd is great. I mean, I'm ranting about the MCU to a camera. I don't know what's more nerdy than that. But I bring that up because I asked him what his favorite superhero was, and he said his favorite superhero was Man, who has the power of two men. And this was a joke. This wasn't like serious, but it got me thinking. Like, if you asked me, I might have said Iron Man or Captain America or Batman, and that's because when I was that age, the Avengers had come out recently in 2012, and I was raving over that movie because the MCU was awesome, right? Like, I got to grow up with the MCU. Iron Man came out when I was 5, and Endgame came out when I was 16. I remember, being in the theater for Endgame and crying at Tony's funeral and cheering with the crowd as Cap pulled Mjolnir, right, to face Thanos. And it was just interesting to see because he didn't seem interested in superheroes or really the MCU. And that got me thinking, like, where are the new MCU fans? Are there any? I haven't seen any. Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts were, amazing, and they gave me a lot of hope for the future of the MCU. But when I was in the theater, I realized, like, I didn't see many kids. And that's fine. I think, having to be a certain age for something is stupid like that. Like, I'm going to keep enjoying these films till I'm 90 if they're good and worth enjoying. But yeah, there's not really many kids. And I bring in my nephew because he made me think of it, but he's really a stand-in for new MCU fans, right? And, like, thinking about it, it's kind of easy to see why there aren't many MCU fans that are new, right? It's like, hey, Infinity Saga, really good. It was great. 24 movies or however many movies it is. You just got to watch that first, then watch all the movies after and the shows. And, a lot of those are really subpar quality that are kind of not worth your time, but it's great. Get into it. It's awesome, right? And also, like, for the Avengers, a movie I brought up, the MCU built up to that, right? There's Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man 2, Nick Fury, Black Widow, Hawkeye, they all appeared in those movies. The Avengers felt very built up to, felt very intentional in how the MCU was laying its foundation, right? And that was really cool. That was awesome. That was like, not the main point of enjoyment. Maybe for some it was, but that definitely was a, like, very primary focused, like, lens to enjoy the movies through. And I don't feel like they have that anymore. Because Doomsday is around the corner, or it's in 11 months. And really, what have they been building up to get Doomsday to be a payoff, right? I mentioned Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, and I like those movies, like, a lot. But what about the rest of the MCU after Endgame, right? Because it's really two things. The MCU after Endgame is made up of two things. One, it's made up of new characters and new stories, like Eternals and Shang-Chi. Eternals, bad reaction. Shang-Chi had a good reaction, so let's talk about Shang-Chi. Really positively, received, but we haven't seen that guy since 2021. I'm not talking about sequels or anything. I just mean an appearance. Where is he? I don't know what's going on with him, and you're telling me I'm supposed to care about him in Doomsday after the MCU has failed to invest any storytelling energy at all into this character? Yeah, okay, sure, right, whatever. I see why new MCU fans wouldn't particularly be all that interested in Shang-Chi, right? And then the other kind of project the MCU has had since Endgame, sorry, my hair is a mess, but the other type of project that the MCU has had since Endgame are just these, like, remember this guy from this part of the MCU you did like? Well, he's back. And sometimes it's not even just like drawing on the past of the MCU, it's also drawing on the past of other franchises that, people like me have an affinity for. We're nostalgic for these times because we grew up with them, whether that be the Infinity Saga or the X-Men, because the X-Men are coming to Doomsday, or all these other characters, right? And that's kind of what the MCU has felt like in the last few years. It's, hey, remember this project you did like because it was good? Well, that familiar face is back for a cameo. Yeah, get hyped, get excited, come see the movie. And that's fine, but I feel like it's kind of taken up the forefront of focus for the MCU instead of building to something like the 2012 Avengers, like Infinity War, like Endgame. Because Doomsday is around the corner, and it's been like 6 years since an Avengers movie, but it still feels too soon. It feels like, what are you doing? We haven't built up to this. Like, I don't know. Obviously, that's all speculation. Doomsday is not coming out for 11 months, and I would love to make a video saying, I was wrong about Doomsday. It's the best fucking Avengers movie I've ever seen. Oh my god, That would be awesome. That would be so cool, but I don't think it's especially likely. Especially since there's like no new MCU fans. Or there probably is. I hope there is. If you're a new MCU fan, sound off in the comments, please. That would make my day. That would make me very happy. But I haven't seen or heard of or talked to any new MCU fans. And I get why, but it's just a shame, right? Because, like, at the current day, there are 3 kinds of MCU fans in my mind. The first kind, the ride or dies. The people that are gonna, keep showing up to MCU movies, even if they don't like them, but they're gonna put their fucking ass in that theater seat and they're gonna watch the movie. I'm one of these people. I grew up with the MCU. I just told you how much I loved Infinity Saga and grew up with it. It was awesome. I'm Kevin Feige's little oink oink content slop little piggy, okay? I'll be there and I'll be feeding from the troughs like the rest of them, even if I'm complaining about the quality of the pig feed. Maybe I'll cut that analogy. Or maybe I won't. Who cares? And then the second type of fan is the fan that's the make or break fan. They're always saying, yeah, this next project is the make or break point for me for the MCU, right? Like, it's either, I'm tired of the inconsistent quality. It's either going to be a banger or I'm out. It's either going to return to form for the MCU or I'm out. And sometimes these people do leave. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just say that. But the thing is, these kind of fans, like, eventually there will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Eventually there will be the movie that alienates them from the MCU and they're just done with it, right? And then the third kind of MCU fan isn't even a fan. It's the has-been fan. The people who did leave already and are not going to come back and are done with it. They've lost all their goodwill with the MCU. And why should they come back after years and years of subpar projects and feeling like they're not building to anything, not investing in new characters, just preying on our nostalgia for old projects? Like, I get it. So what I'm saying about the future, or maybe lack thereof future for the MCU, is that there's not that many Ride or Die fans, and all the other fans are kind of, their patience is wearing thin, or it's already wore thin. So what does that mean for the future, right? And we're not getting any new MCU fans because the MCU just hasn't optimized itself to be, like, good for new fans, right? Like, there's no kids coming in to see, all these movies because they don't really care about it, right? Because it's a kind of a hard sell. Watch 30 movies and 30 TV shows and half of them are bad. Like, I wouldn't want to do that. Are you kidding me? No. Like, it's one thing when it was one at a time over 10 years, right? That was cool. But now it's like, I can't be bothered. That's homework. That's nerd homework, and I don't want to do it. But if the MCU doesn't change something, if the MCU doesn't focus on, like, building itself of quality instead of nostalgia bait, I don't think there's going to be any fans left. Besides the Ride or Dies, but that might not be a big enough population to sustain the MCU, right? And it will be a slow, pitiful, frailing death of this franchise, which I'd hate to see because despite all my, like, bitching, all my YouTuber bitching, I do love the MCU. I have much love in my heart for those stories and, what they meant to me growing up and what they still mean to me. But, Doomsday bringing back RDJ, Captain America, X-Men, all that stuff, I'm not hopeful. And even worse than that, I'm not really all that excited either. And I can't get other people excited. Like, I can't share this with my nephew because, like, why would I? He doesn't have any affinity for the nostalgia bait because he wasn't there, or he wasn't old enough to enjoy it. And there's nothing really worthwhile for newcomers, which is a shame. Anyways, sorry to end on such like a sad topic, sad point, but I felt like making this video. It's unscripted. Normally my videos are a lot more scripted, but this was more of a ramble. But I just wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to know if there are any new MCU fans, or I want to know if anyone has thought about this, because I haven't heard people talk about the new fan, like, experience, right? Or lack thereof, I guess. But anyways, let me know if you agree or disagree. I'm a YouTuber. You know what I want. Do the like, comment, subscribe things if you want, and I'll see you next time. Bye.